Welcome to Civil War Digital Digest. I'm Will. We're back in Fremont, Ohio again at the Hayes Presidential Museum and Library, and Kevin Moore is with me, their Curator of Collections, and he's brought an artifact out of the vault. This is our chance to let a museum pull things out of their collection that can't be displayed either for story or for number of them or any other reason that doesn't quite fit the main museum, but it's in the collection, and Kevin pulled it. What are we looking at today, Kevin?
Well, Will, what we have today is a cane that comes from an important battle in Hayes's career. So this comes from part of the Battle of Winchester in September of 1864. And this cane is tied to one of Colonel Hayes's kind of the high points of leadership in his military career.
Great. Well, let's pull back a second before we even get into the fun Civil War stuff that we love in the series here. Why a cane?
So this is one of a number of canes in our collection. Hayes has maybe 4 or 5 tied to the Civil War, but he has probably 100 canes. Some of them were given to him when he was elected president. Some were given to him when he was elected governor. And they seem to be kind of a symbol of congratulations that people would give him. So he collected a number of canes over the course of his life, and we have them.
Well, it's a chance to commemorate then, apparently. And 3rd Winchester, this is a major point in Hayes's career. Why don't you take us through the story?
Hayes finds himself in the position of being the ranking officer in the middle of what could have been a catastrophe. As Union forces are pushing towards the Confederacy, they find that there is a creek, a slough, a marsh that isn't on the map. Nobody was intending to encounter this. And Hayes has to make the split-second decision. I can retreat, I can stop and wait for orders, or I can press on. And he decides that the initial command was given to press forward. That's what he's going to do. And so he wades out on his horse into this marsh, knowing full well that if he just stays back on the bank and orders people to go forward, they may or may not go forward. So he takes the initiative. He goes forward. The men start following him. They're being shot at, of course, under heavy fire during all of this. His horse ends up getting stuck in the muck, so he has to dismount and go in by foot. The rest of the men in his unit are pulling along with him. And once they get to that other side, they're able to rout the Confederates and push them back a good ways. And so Hayes kind of identifies this as a high point in his command.
Well, that's Red Bud Run, and that's 3rd Winchester, and that's an amazing way to say it because I have the advantage of you. I've actually been to Red Bud Slough, and the Shenandoah Valley Battlefield Foundation has a marker placed outside of the slough or the marsh where this would be where you can stand, but looking down in there, that place is still a mess. So we think this stick came from there?
Yeah, it has some indications on it. It's engraved. It has this silver plaque here, and it says Winchester and then gives the date, September 1864, and it says Red Bud Slough on it.
Well, where do you think something like this fits into Hayes's memory of his service?
So I think that Hayes he liked to collect mementos of important things in the Civil War and things that were important to him. So, for example, he keeps his jacket where he's been wounded, despite the fact that it's all torn up. He keeps this cane of his moment of leadership. But some of his other canes, for example, they come from Gettysburg, which he wasn't at, but it's a pivotal moment. And so he keeps that as well.
Well, thank you for going into your vault and for looking ahead of us coming and for bringing this out and sharing it with us. It's fantastic piece of American history. It's one you got to see here thanks to our friends storing it and caring for it here at the Hayes Presidential Museum and Library. I hope you've enjoyed this chance to see inside their vault, built another connection with history, and we'll see you a couple of weeks down the road on Civil War Digital Digest.